YouTube, what's going on? Your boy Ya Mustard is back with another video, and today we are here to talk about some more playoff basketball because man, oh man, I am pumped about the playoffs. Shout out to everyone that is performing at a great level. Donovan Mitchell has been outstanding in that series. You also have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, T. Roro, even Marcus Smart coming back yesterday. It was just a great feeling to watch him defensively just amazing on that side of the ball. You also have great play from young players like Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, who just basically swept the Heat. If it wasn't for the fact that Embiid, missed the game, that's the only reason the Heat even got a game on him. So when it comes to the NBA playoffs, things are looking phenomenal. I mean, who knows? The Cavs may not even make it out the East. We may finally have another team make it out of the Eastern Conference.
And with 3 seconds left, Cleveland triggers in. James, 2 seconds, 1 second for the win. Oh! LeBron James delivers!
But that's not why we're here. We are here to discuss the Western Conference semifinals with the New Orleans Pelicans led by Anthony Davis and Jrue Holiday versus the Golden State Warriors led by Kevin Durant and Draymond Green. Notice how I didn't say Steph Curry because we don't know for sure when Steph Curry will be returning in the second round. There are rumors that he will miss the first 2 games, first 3, potentially even the first 4 games. So, it's kind of just up in the air when Steph will be back, but more than likely he will be returning sometime in this series. We just don't know when. Now, before we go any further with this video, I want to give a shout out to the sponsors, SeatGeek. SeatGeek is an app that takes tickets from all over the web and puts them in one place that makes buying them easy. They score every ticket from 1 to 10, and also they put the seats on the app to let you view where you're going to sit, so you know where, best seats are. If you're not convinced to get the app, I want you guys to go down the description, click the link, and also put in my promo code MUSTARD for $20 off on your first purchase. Trust me, these will be phenomenal tickets. Now we're back to the topic at hand. The Golden State Warriors without Steph Curry have not looked the same. They have not lost a single playoff game since basically 2016, 2 years ago. But now that Steph Curry missed the first round of the playoffs, they lost their first playoff game in 2 years. Yes, 2 years. It is that great and that dominant that the Golden State Warriors have been. But this season, a lot of people are raising eyebrows, especially with the injury to Steph Curry that has knocked him out for the first round and partially parts of the second round. Now that we have confirmed, people are starting to wonder who can knock off the Warriors in a potential upset, and that brings up the New Orleans Pelicans, because the New Orleans Pelicans this season had a really rocky start, rocky middle, and a great ending. Because in the beginning, they were trying to get their footing with Boogie and Anthony Davis. They were actually below 500, and at the pace that they were going when Boogie was playing, they probably may have missed out on the playoffs. Just maybe. I'm not saying that they would have, but the pace that they were going based on the record at the time. But when Boogie went down, they traded for Mirotic, players stepped up, Alvin Gentry made great adjustments, and they were just winning a lot of games, and Anthony Davis was in the conversation for the MVP. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if he's at least top 5 in MVP voting, or actually, I wouldn't be shocked if he's at least top 3 in MVP voting with how dominant he was and how great he was and how important he was to the success of the New Orleans Pelicans. And also, you have to give credit to all the other parts around him, such as Jrue Holiday, Rondo, and Mirotic for also stepping up in the big moments when they needed them, which led to them sweeping the 3rd-seeded Portland Trailblazers in a shocking revelation that the Pelicans are just better than we all thought they were. I mean, when you look at their lineup when they have Jrue Holiday and Rondo on the court, yes, Rondo can't really space the floor, but in the playoffs, Rondo has shown that he just steps up, as in that series, he shot better from the 3-point line, shot above 35% from 3, not that many attempts or anything, but he picked his spots, and there was one crucial 3-pointer that he made in, I believe, game 2 that really just clinched the game for them. So Rondo in the playoffs elevated to a new heights. Obviously, we know he gets triple doubles on the daily. His capabilities rebounding the ball and playing defense basically when he wants to can really elevate any team that he's on, even though he can't space out the floor that much. And like I said before, playoff Rondo is just a real thing, and Jrue Holiday definitely stepped up in the first round of the playoffs, averaging nearly 28 points, 7 assists, while shooting over 55% from the field and 35% from 3, and shutting down Damian Lillard to shooting below 40% from the field throughout the whole series of 4 games. So it is clear that Jrue Holiday on both sides of the ball played it at an elite level. And then Then you have Nikola Mirotic, who they traded for before the trading deadline due to Boogie Cousins going down, so they needed somebody else in the front court who could just provide some level of consistency for them, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And Nikola Mirotic was that guy, as when he came into the New Orleans Pelicans this season in the 30 games that he played, averaged 15 points and 8 assists, while shooting around 34 to 35% from 3. And yes, his field goal percentage from the field wasn't that great, but when you're positioning him basically on the 3-point line, it's not like he's going to be shooting around 50% like normal bigs do. Now in the playoffs, he shot incredibly well. He has been phenomenal when it comes to his efficiency in the playoffs. In the 4 games that he played, he averaged 18 points, nearly 10 rebounds, also 2 steals and nearly 3 blocks, while shooting 57% from the field, 46% from 3, and 83% from the free throw line. Efficient, and that's what you need from the stretch bigs and the stretch 4s in this league, and Nikola Mirotic was that against the Portland Trailblazers. Now, Anthony Davis, we all know he was a monster. We don't even have to really go into how great he was in that series, because let's be real, he's one of the top 5 players in the league. If you don't think that, you definitely have to think top 10. One of the most talented players that we've seen in NBA history on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. His ability is just phenomenal and something that we have not seen in the NBA in years. But I think we can all come to the realization that the Golden State Warriors will not be pushovers like the Portland Trailblazers were in the first round to the New Orleans Pelicans. Because the Portland Trailblazers, they lacked a lot of things, especially on the defensive side of the ball on the perimeter. And I think we can all come to the realization that the Warriors are not going to be too kind to them, especially on that side. But when you don't have Steph Curry, someone who basically is a dribble penetrator and can stretch the floor out so wide to the point that you can't double him, they can only really put single coverage because Clay will get the ball, or Draymond will get the ball, or Iggy will get the ball. That's why when you look at the numbers of the certain players such as Clay and Draymond, offensively at least, these guys are just not the same without Steph, because they get way more open looks, because whenever they try to double Steph or just put more pressure on Steph can pass out of it, and that's how Clay gets open looks, and especially Draymond Green, because Draymond Green is really being effective without Steph and Curry. But that brings the question, can the New Orleans Pelicans take advantage of that? Because the New Orleans Pelicans, offensively, they have a lot of firepower. Even though Rondo's not the most efficient scorer, he can't get to the paint. Nikola Mirotic shot 50, 40, 80 in the playoff series against the Portland Trailblazers and averaged 18 points and 10 rebounds. He can space the floor just about as great as any other power forward in the league. Jrue Holiday is capable of going off for at least 25 points per game in this series. We saw him go off for around 28 points per game in the Portland Trailblazers series on over 55% field goal shooting. So I think asking of him to give you at least 20 plus, I think that's reasonable in this series, especially when you got Quinn Cook defending you, who I'm not trying to take anything away from Quinn Cook. I think he's actually really been solid for them in the absence of Steph Curry. But let's be real, Jrue Holiday should at least average at least 20 in this series, and he should step up. Let's just call it what it is. You got to step up in these big moments. And obviously Anthony Davis is a monster. Who's going to defend him? Draymond Green? Because we all know how that turned out in 2015 when Anthony Davis averaged over 30 plus on this team on 50% field goal shooting. So we all know that Anthony Davis, nobody's guarding him, nobody can guard him, and he's going to have a field day. Now the complementary pieces around him that I just explained, that's really just up in the air, because we don't know how they're going to react to a big task such as the Golden State Warriors. And I will say this, if Anthony Davis and the Pelicans can pull off the upset, because yes, it would be considered an upset if they won this series, I think that would be a huge boost for the legacy of Anthony Davis and for where he places in the NBA. Because honestly, would you say that Kevin Durant is better than Anthony Davis if he can't get past this New Orleans Pelicans team without Steph Curry? Honestly, even if Steph comes back and they beat him, I think that's for sure enough for me to say that Anthony Davis is the second best player in the league after LeBron James, of course. Because honestly, Anthony Davis, the fact that he can get past the Trailblazers in 4, he swept them. Let's just keep that real. He swept the 3rd seeded Portland Trailblazers, even though they may not have been as good as their seeding said they were. But he swept that team. They didn't even buy a game on him. And if you saw what he did to Nurkic in that series, it was just phenomenal. But if he can go into Golden State and come out with a dub, not only will that avenge the sweep that he had in 2015, but that will put him in the conversation as the best player in the league today. So this series is really important for Anthony Davis. I'm not saying it's a must win because he's obviously the underdog in this series. He doesn't have Boogie Cousins and Steph Curry. Even though he's out, he's still up against a team that's just better. But if you had to put money on Anthony Davis upsetting the Warriors, I believe it's a higher chance than a lot of people are giving him credit for, because for one, his role players are stepping up. Holiday, Mirotic, Rondo, they're all stepping up, and now he has a crew against the Golden State Warriors team who is weakened, as well as his team because Boogie is out, but they are weakened as well without Steph Curry. And we'll see what Anthony Davis can bring to the table. So you guys let me know in the comment section what you think. Do you think Anthony Davis will upset the Golden State Warriors? Y'all let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Also, I would love it if you guys could drop a like down below, because, you know, I need them likes, you feel me? So this is your boy Young Mustard signing out. Y'all make sure you follow me on social media. The links will be down below. Have a great day. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell. Peace.
You say it's good, I say it's great, but it could be better. It always could always be better. You say it's good.